So, our first long-form video. Exciting. Today, we will be talking about KIISU V4B, what it is, and what is my honest opinion and use case for it. But, to be completely transparent and honest, let's get the disclaimers out of the way first. So, it must be stated that I am a biased party with direct interest in the company, as I am a part of the KIISU Development Board development team, right? So that's that. Despite that, I've been a user of KIISU Development Board for like 9 months now, so I have had my own experience with it that I would like to talk about here today. I will not be talking about it from a perspective of a developer. I will be talking about it as a, let's say, a median user, somebody who likes gadgets and dev boards but doesn't want to put too much effort into tinkering with them. So let's get started. What is KIISU V4B? Well, if you know what is Flipper Zero, then it could be said that KIISU V4B is a card-sized version of that. KIISU V4B mimics all the features and functions of a Flipper Zero with some extras added on top of it. Why did we make KIISU when Flipper is already out there and pretty popular? Well, the reason being that Flipper is a cool product. We like it to an extent, but we have had our own difficulties with it. For example, I personally don't like Flipper's form factor. To me, it feels like which is why I don't like it. I don't like the way it feels in my pocket. And plus, because it already has somewhat of a notoriety, I don't like using Flipper in public, because as soon as I pull it out to validate my bus card, for example, or partner card in a grocery store, suddenly a lot of people around me start to feel uncomfortable and start grabbing their wallets and bags and phones and everything else. So that is not very social, you know. Second thing is, Flipper is expensive, and we wanted to see if we could make something more affordable and maybe a bit more convenient to carry around. That's why KIISU V4B has this card-sized form factor. It's rather thin while it retains all the features of a Flipper. Now, let's name all the things that KIISU has. KIISU has sub-gigahertz radio, KIISU has Bluetooth, it has infrared LEDs, it has I-button pins, it has a SD card slot, USB-C charging port, a display, all the buttons, all-IR 2032 battery connector, RFID antenna coil, and NFC antenna going around the edges. It also has a SMA antenna connector, so if you want to, you can add a stronger antenna to it. And now let's talk about using KIISU V4B, where it makes sense, where it doesn't make sense, how it feels as an everyday carry object, so on and so forth. Well, let me comment on first two things that I could say somewhat annoy me in the product that we made. First of all is how thin it is. KIISU is very thin, around like 1 millimeter or so. At least the card itself, well, PCB. Which is why I personally don't feel confident carrying it around without a case, because I feel like it might break if I press on it too hard, if I don't know, hit my pocket against a corner of a table or anything like that. So I personally always use it with a case. Luckily, there are a bunch of cases available for free on different platforms, like printables. For example, you can download a variety of my own designs, and you can also get designs from other people. Plus, as we have the STL of KIISU available online as well, you can pretty much download it and design your own 3D printable case. Now, second thing that I find to be somewhat problematic with KIISU is battery capacity. It comes with a all-IR 2032 rechargeable coin battery or pill battery, whatever you call it. And some people have said in the Discord that it's completely fine and that's enough, and that they use KIISU on a daily basis and charge it maybe once a week. as much as I know, using mainly sub-gigahertz radio. Now, because I use a lot of NFC and RFID, which seem to be more demanding from KIISU, I was somewhat forced to solder an extra LiPo battery onto it, which looks somewhat like this. Gladly enough, it was pretty easy, so that is nice, but still something I had to do to make it more usable for my cell phone on a daily basis. So one thing I find it very useful for is NFC and RFID card emulation. For example, I am a part of many co-working spaces and offices and so on, so I have many cards and knobs that I need to use on almost daily basis. Now, my keychain used to be pretty heavy and big, and with KIISU now that is solved. I just carry a KIISU in my pocket with a 3D printed case and am able to enter all the spaces that I need to and where I am welcome and allowed in, right? Sub-gigahertz radio also works pretty well. We have measured maximum distance of like 30 meters where it has worked. Now, in my personal case, the only gate using sub-gigahertz that I have access to is my home gate, but it has a rolling code, and KIISU at the moment does not support rolling code, so I cannot open my home gate. So Flipper gets a +1 point here, and we don't get it, right? Infrared also works well, but I don't use it much, so there's not much I can say about it. I have tested it. It has successfully worked with our AC unit in the office. It has worked with my at-home LED lights, so it does what it says on the tin. Another thing that basically has no use for me is I-button pins, because I don't live in a house with an I-button. And to my knowledge, according to at least the questions I have asked on our Discord channel, basically a very minor fraction of users are actively using I-button, and the ones that are mainly reside in Eastern Europe, where I-button is more popular than in the rest of the world, I guess. Now, coming back to NFC and RFID, there are a few things I need to mention now that I think about it. RFID works pretty well. Now, it could be better, and we are working on improving it in the next products, but if you put a case over it, the back panel of the case needs to be pretty thin so that the signal gets through it. NFC, on the other hand, is much more demanding. That's why some capacitors start sizzling when it's being used, and it drains the battery pretty quickly. So if you have a plan to get your KIISU to use it with NFC a lot, I highly recommend you get a LiPo battery right off the bat as well. So, what else is there that I can say about KIISU? I guess the card size form factor is a double-edged sword. On one side, it's very nice that it's so thin and can be easily carried around in many different places. On the other hand, for aggressive use, that is somewhat of a problem, because if you move it around a lot and, I don't know, bend it by accident, there is a chance that the current onboard antenna, which is rain sun right here, might come off. We have received quite a lot of feedback on that. Luckily, it's pretty easy to solder back onto it, but that's something you need to keep in mind. We will look for ways how to make it better. Maybe we will just start adding a bit of glue to it. I don't know, maybe. You tell me in the comments, right? And I guess the last section of the video would be what are our plans in the future with the KIISU project. So when it comes to KIISU V4B, at the moment our only plan is to add some minor improvements to it, as in make it more durable, make sure that antenna doesn't fall off, add some more components that would make RFID and NFC a bit more powerful and a bit less power draining, and that will be pretty much it with the V4B. Now, that is not where the KIISU project stops, because at the moment we're already developing and working on KIISU Mini, or KIISU SMOL to be exact, which will be a much smaller version of KIISU with all the same features, but spread out on different boards. So there will be a main board that will have Bluetooth, sub-gigahertz, display, all the necessary pins and all. Then there will be a separate battery and antenna board, which will be carrying all-IR battery connector, a LiPo connector, as well as NFC and RFID antennas. And there will also be a dual-band Wi-Fi board with GPS and a separate SD card module, which will basically allow people with KIISU SMOLs to do war driving. Right now we have sent out a couple of alpha versions of KIISU SMOLs. They are not yet available for sale because they are unfinished. They need some work both in the software and the hardware side. And we will be doing a Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign where you'll be able to support our project if you want. And it's not necessarily because we need it, but because we want to make a better product, and we see that additional crowdfunding will allow us to make a better product than we would be able to with our given resources at hand. The campaign will go live hopefully in a matter of a couple of days, as soon as I figure out all the tiers and everything else. And that's that. Okay, no, wait. One more thing that can be added in regards to the crowdfunding campaign. If the campaign is successful, we'll be able to push out a better product with more additional boards, maybe a better case that will, in the end, be more close to a product than just a development board. Now, if the crowdfunding campaign fails, then those that have funded us will receive the rewards that they have funded, and we will just release the product in the state that we are able to bring it to with the money gathered and our own finances. So yeah, that is our first long form video. Thank you very much, and yeah, bye.